Hello, and welcome to this overnight whiskey taste challenge. Okay, I was talking on the Book of Faces with some of my Anglo beer friends, Peter, Mondo Squalito, Dean's Beer Reviews, and of course, the illustrious Swillingrog. We were talking mainly about travel, and we were talking about some new policies that were adopted by a particular social media outfit that's causing an uproar. But I said, well, I'm going to go do an overnight taste challenge, so y'all come on over and watch. Whether they watch or not, I do not know. But regardless, we have today the famous, well, actually not famous, the obscure, in reality, Club 400 Special Reserve Blended Whiskey from Baltimore County, Maryland. It says Baltimore, Maryland, but actually the bottling plant, the blending and bottling plant, Majestic, it's called distillery. They actually don't distill there anymore. But Majestic is about a mile outside the city limits. So it's within Baltimore County, but not in the city of Baltimore. Much like Sazerac, who owns Club 400. They say that their headquarters is New Orleans, but if you look carefully, it's actually Metairie, about 3 miles west of New Orleans, where their headquarters is. Maybe it's 2 miles. It isn't far. You just get on Veterans Boulevard and go east, and you'll cross into New Orleans very quickly. And in New Orleans, they're going to open the Sazerac Experience in 2019, which would be all about their liquor brands and how they distill and everything. And it's going to be free. There's no charge. They don't charge for any of their tours, by the way. Sazerac does not charge for Buffalo Trace, Barton 1792, or the one in Virginia. There's a small distillery in Virginia. Do not charge for that, any of those, even the specialty tours. Lindsay Ryan Coleman, good morning. Whiskey at 6 a.m. Got to start early. Yeah, it's 5:42. I didn't want to wait till 6. I had finished all my other tasks, mainly on this cold day. It's very cold. It was very cold yesterday, down to 18 degrees in Louisiana, which is usually unheard of in this part of Louisiana. Shreveport gets very cold every year because they're in a more of a continental climate. Humid continental, we're in humid subtropical, you see. But with all this global climate change, we can see, because I can remember 45 years ago in the winter, it would get really cold. Oh, so cold. And then in the summer, it would get so hot. Oh, so hot. And now here we are 45 years later, and look what's happened. Now in the winter, it gets really cold. Oh, so cold. And then in the summer, it gets really hot. Oh, it's hot. And so it's pretty obvious that if we just had a little bit more government control over our personal lives, that we could stop this calamity of going from very cold winters to now very cold winters, and from very hot summers to very hot summers. And look, in the last couple of years, we've had all these hurricanes, and 45 years ago, you just had all these hurricanes. So it's pretty serious. All right. Yeah, it's 12 up here, and it ain't warming up anytime soon. Where are you at 12 degrees? Okay. All right. What are we fighting against today? Well, we're fighting. I'm not fighting. They're fighting each other. Seagram's VO Gold from the Dominion of Canada. So we have an import. New York. Oh, my goodness. New York. Yikes. So we have Maryland, a former British colony versus Canada, also a former British colony, now a Commonwealth realm, but still a dominion of Queen Elizabeth II. Okay, as though that has anything to do with what we're drinking, right? Club 400 is aged 3 years, okay? Seagram's VO Gold is aged at least 8 years. All the whiskeys, they use many different whiskeys. But the minimum is 8. So they always got to go with the youngest. So the youngest is 8, could be more for others, but they always got to go with the youngest whiskey thrown in. It was introduced in 1998 and it was discontinued in 2017. Club 400 was introduced in 1951. It's still on the market. There's also a Club 400 gin. There might be a Club 400 blended bourbon or even a straight bourbon. You see, with Sazerac, you just don't know. There might be a Club 400 vodka. It's a whole line. Okay, SVOG, Seagram's VO Gold. Now, Seagram's VO Gold is about $24 a bottle. Now, Tyler Mansell got his for $18, but that's an unusually low price. Club 400 is usually about $8 a bottle. So would you rather pay $24 or $8? Now, you might say, yeah, but I would rather pay $24 if it's much better. That's the question of the morning or overnight here. Is it much better? Because if it's like the last taste challenge and I get them confused, like I got Seagram's VO confused with Club 400, and VO is $18 a bottle and Club 400 is $8, that's telling me that I would go with the cheaper price because, you know, I'm not paying $10 more a bottle for cachet. You know what I mean? Now you're saying, so you might tell me, so you'd go to a party with Club 400? Yeah, I'd go to the party. Probably wouldn't get invited back, but I mean, I'd go. I'd probably just ask before I went, you want me to bring a liquor? And let's see what the host would say. I usually fail when I go to these parties and bring something interesting because they're all drinking Bud Light and Jack Daniels and Kettle One vodka. You know what I mean? It's like they're not going to drink anything different, so why even try? Well, they're both golden. The shade is, I would say, the same. Maybe this one's just a tiny bit lighter, but it isn't really. Alcohol legs all around the glass. They're clear. So, I mean, my goodness, a 3-year age versus 8-year age. They're both blended. They're both 80 proof. You know, I did that taste challenge 2 days ago, and it was a big failure. And I was embarrassed and everything. And I started thinking about it, though, when I was doing some other stuff, washing dishes or something. And I said to myself, I said, you know, you forgot one thing, that the Canadian whiskeys tend to be a much higher rye content than average. That's sort of a Canadian characteristic, that they have a lot of rye. They even used to call Canadian whiskey rye whiskey, although most of it was never straight rye whiskey, you see, but they would call it that, rye. I'm going to go drink some rye. And then what did I put it up against? A Sazerac brand, Majestic Distilling, part of Sazerac. And what is Sazerac known for? High rye content relative to other products. So, I mean, I don't know why I was shocked that I was confused. You know, that I got them wrong. I should have said, well, and what did it prove? It didn't prove a whole lot, but it proved that you could save $10 and get something that's pretty much the same as VO. And if this turns out to be if this turns out to mix me up and I can't tell them apart, that's going to prove that you could really save a lot of money. I've had very good experiences, to tell you the truth, with these lower end whiskeys. They're a lot more complex than I thought. They do have intricate little flavor notes and aromas. So the next one I'm going to try to do is Club 400 against the Albertsons Canadian blended whiskey. And you know how much that one costs? $4.99 for a regular size bottle. Why it was so inexpensive, I do not know. But when I saw it, I could not resist. What did I say a year ago? I'm not buying any more liquor. That's it. I have too much. And then every time I turn around, I'm seeing this extraordinary price. So then I can't resist. And I cannot resist. It's like the movie The Godfather. You know, in 1 year, they can earn $50,000, $60,000. Then they cannot resist. So when I saw that New England corn whiskey for $8.99, and that's a craft whiskey, aged in cherry wood and oak wood. I mean, $8.99. If I go to Vermont and buy it, it might be $28.99. So I mean, I could not resist. I had to buy it. And then my friend David bought a bottle, and he was telling me, you know, with the big beard, he was telling me, "Oh, that's just rancid. It's rancid. Don't drink it." I said, "What?" And I went over to his house and I tried it. I said, "This is not rancid." I said, "It's just different because it's that cherry wood." And then he started saying, yeah, it's like cherries. And he said, it threw me off, you know. Dancing Dog 60. Hey, DD 60. I like regular Seagram 7 because my dad used to drink it and then reminisce about the Boston Braves. Yeah, funny thing about drinking whiskey. You start drinking it, you start reminiscing about all kind of things. And then if you drink gin, start drinking gin, you start reminiscing, and then the police show up. All right, anyway. I don't like that gin. That gin is mean. I like to try it, but he cried when the Braves went off to Milwaukee. Yeah, that was a situation of Boston was not big enough for two teams. You know, it just they couldn't support two teams. Even though the Braves were the older team, the upstart Red Sox, you know, they took over the show. Now in St. Louis, the upstart team, the Browns, they could not steal the show, so they failed after 54 years. Oh, I mean, 53 years of trying, and so they left. St. Louis could not support two teams either. Hatchet Mobile. Hello, Hatchet Mobile. How do I transition from beer to liquor? I was drinking liquor in the summer and then beer in the winter. I'm like ass backwards. I got 2 days off a week ahead of me, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to transition. I don't know. I'm not an answer man for that kind of stuff. Okay, let's get down to this. Well, that's a nice woody, sweet nectar aroma. So I'm picking up wood. An aroma commonly associated with whiskey, as the U.S. government would say. Little dried flowers, dried candied fruit. Even cherry. Well, that's weird. Cherry. That's bizarre. Okay, over here. Oh, much different. Much different. It's wood, but it's more of a charred wood. Much more charcoal, and a wax, like a beeswax or a candle wax. Beeswax. Wow, I can't believe it. You'd think they'd be kind of similar, but you could never confuse these. I don't know how. Okay. Thanks for joining me in this adventure. You noticed I posted a wine review this morning. I recorded that nearly a week ago. I think it was a week ago when it was warm here, but it didn't stay warm. That was a good wine. It's a summer wine. I'm drinking it in the winter, you know, but it was a good wine. I mean, I've been sipping on it every day. That Carlo Rossi Blush. You know, it's very light, pink. It's good though. I liked it. And for $12.87 a gallon bottle, 4,000 milliliters a gallon. I mean, come on. Can you do $3 Chuck review? I don't know what that is. What is that? $3 Chuck? I don't understand. That's a nickname for some kind of product, right? I'm sort of ignorant. Okay. Charles Shaw from Trader Joe's. Oh, well, maybe I'll do that down the road. I haven't had too many pleasant experiences with Trader Joe's products, to tell you the truth. I thought their sherry was ghastly. How do you screw up sherry, cream sherry? And I mean, you get the Taylor, Fairbanks, cream sherry, Christian Brothers, Sheffield Cellars. They're all wonderful. And you get that stuff and it's like, oh yeah. Wow. This is going to be a challenge. I mean, a challenge. Oh, I guess that's why we call it a taste challenge. Now, okay. I don't want to get mixed up like 2 days ago. To my right might be your left, but to my right, I'm picking up a very noticeable peppery rye spice. I mean, they both have a little wood, you know, a little bit of whiskey flavor, blah, blah, blah. You know what it's going to taste like. Nothing off, unusual, or foul, okay, but and I think that it could be the Club 400, which I thought was very high rye spiced relative to other blended whiskeys now. Just like the Beams 8 Star is very corn, heavy corn. It tastes like bourbon. It's not bourbon. It is not, I repeat, not bourbon. But it tastes like it. You could fool people with that Beams 8 Star. I think a lot of bar rooms do fool people. They order a Beam and Coke, and they think they're getting the Jim Beam, you know, the white label, and they're getting Beams 8 Star. They don't realize it, and they're just drinking it. La, 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 so happy. They got ripped off. Paid $8 for a mixed drink, and it cost the bar room 18 cents to make it. Now, over here, it's rye too. It's distinctive. It's a spice. I mean, it's there. It's like when you're drinking beer, you know, and you can taste those hops at the end of the sip. They come into play. Even if it's like 12 IBUs, they'll come in like, ee, it's like they're spinning in your taste buds there. It's like that little spin of hop spice. And a lot of people will say, you know, Budweiser, that has no hop flavor. Blah, blah, blah. But if they weren't so busy talking and they would take time to think, they'd notice that it's there. It isn't there by much. I'm not going to say it's pronounced. Of course, it is not. But it is there. It exists. You know, but of course, Budweiser is a round beer, meaning that you're not supposed to taste any particular ingredient. It's just supposed to taste like they call that a round product, that nothing stands out. It's like Phil Spector's wall of sound. You know, you're not supposed to pick up any individual instrument. It's supposed to just be a wall or a blended sound coming at you. Oh, well. But these two whiskeys do have individual components coming out. Which is making it a heck of a job to... The Trader Joe's, the Trader Jose beer ain't bad, though. Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, but they hire they contract with some good people to make good stuff. Like some of their beers, they get a lot of their beers from Firestone Walker. And also from Gordon Biersch. And I mean, Gordon Biersch does good work, you know. So Trader Joe's which is owned by Aldi, by the way, Aldi, same company. They do some odd things. Some of their stuff is really good, and then you turn around and it's really bad. Doesn't seem like there's much middle ground at Trader Joe's. We have two of them in my area. 50 miles northwest of here, we got Trader Joe's in Baton Rouge, been there for years. And then 24 miles east of here, we've got Trader Joe's in Metairie. I like to go there 3-4 times a year at the most, pick up some stuff. It's always inexpensive, you know. You never seen so many white people though. When you go, you ever seen so many white people in your life as when you go to Trader Joe's? True, some of the good breweries they contract make good beer, like that Old Time. It's probably the worst beer I've ever had. Oh yeah, Simpler Times. Simpler Times Pilsner and Simpler Times Lager. They ought to call it Bad Times. Horrible times. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time right now trying to get these distinguished. Let me tell you this. Let me say this to you. Okay, so before I try to make the distinguishment, the differentiation, let's be honest. And I always am usually sort of honest in these videos, right? I mean, I don't lie too much. So, you know, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. But I mean, you know, I'm having trouble telling them apart. And one costs $25, or let's say $23, and the other one is $8. I'm talking about the regular size, not this half size plastic flask, you know, but a regular size bottle. So do you think I'm going to pay $23 when I can buy one for $8? And the flavor, when you sit down and do what I'm doing, taste challenge it, is practically the same? I don't think so. Now you say, what are you trying to prove? Are you trying to prove a point with these taste challenges that bargain whiskeys are a good deal? No, I'm not trying to prove anything. I've said this from the beginning in 2010. I do not have a horse in the race, okay? I don't care. Now, some people don't believe that. They say, oh, you know him, Jay, Ronald, he's working for the big guys. He's in a plot. He's in a conspiracy to promote macro beers. And, well, you could believe that if you want. But it isn't so. But I mean, whatever you want to believe, I don't care. It's your business. If you think I'm in the pocket of Anheuser-Busch, believe it. I wish I was. I'd be getting a lot of money, because right now, you know how much money I've gotten from Anheuser-Busch in my life? Yeah, you're right. Exactly nothing. No money. Nothing. Nada. Not even the fee for the gaming license, which I would appreciate if they would put up personally. I think that, okay, I got to take one more sip. It's actually becoming more difficult the more I drink. And you say, oh, you're getting drunk. If I get drunk off of this little mini glass, I need to immediately quit doing videos and go seek help, right? I probably have some kind of physiological problem. These things might look big on video, but here's my thumb and here's my index finger. There's my thumb, there's my index finger. Does that look big to you? If that looks big to you, to be fair, AB makes the best macro beers in my humble opinion. Well, I don't know about that. I think it's a four-way tie between Anheuser-Busch, Coors, Miller, and Pabst. Of course, Coors and Miller is the same company today. Miller got bought by Coors. I wish they'd do bare knuckle stout again. Oh yeah, I got to try that one time on draft in St. Louis at the brewery, and it was good. And my father was like, I'm drinking a Sprite. I said, okay. He doesn't drink liquor anymore. I'm glad in a way, because he wasn't a bad drunk, you know, like drinking and fighting, but he would aggravate you, you know, he'd like to aggravate people. He likes to do that anyway. So, but imagine when he's drinking. Okay, I think, oh my goodness, I think this is the Club 400. Well, wait. This is a quasi retraction. Let me take one more sip. No, I think this is the Club 400. I think there's a tiny bit more rye spice. Now, my daughter loved the Seagram's VO Gold. She was like, oh, this is a great whiskey. A great whiskey. And she was bragging on it. In a blind taste test, I think she might like the Club 400. But you see, she's going to see that Club 400 on the label, right? And she's going to say, oh, that looks so cheap, you know? And so automatically she's going to think it's going to be bad. I'm telling you, perception is reality. So you see these kind of things and you say, oh my goodness, that quaint little label that's never been changed since 1951. You know what I mean? It's like they never bothered changing it. It's like Prairie Belt smoked sausage. You know, Prairie Belt, the little can with the little kid with the striped shirt that they probably never changed since 1961. Yeah, that was a great stout. Oh man, on draft, it was dynamite, dynamite. Okay, so I think this is Club 400, and my confidence level is not high. My confidence level is not high, but I'm going to go with the rye. And if you don't like it, you can stick it in your eye. Okay, well, anyway. Oh, I'm so vindicated. Your hatred is so eradicated. And this is the Seagram's VO Gold. I got it. I did it. I did it. Okay, so I've had one failure in what? The last 10 challenges? One failure? Whiskey was the case that they gave me. So no more Indo gin or juice. No more Indo gin and juice. So blah, 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 yada, yada, da, da, dee, da, 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 whatever the hell else you want to put in it. All right. Wow. Can't beat the price. I'm going to have to pick some up. Yeah, but can you find it? Can you find Club 400? I mean, you know, it's like trying to find McCormick whiskey, which I did find in an eastern suburb of New Orleans, but I'm not going to Chalmette. That's like a remote town. You got to go on like an excursion just to get there. I was driving to Chalmette and I was like, why would I ever go to Chalmette? It's like so difficult to get here. I like a Genesee here or there. Have you ever tried the coffee stout? It's not that bad, but kind of weird. Genesee coffee stout? I never even heard of it. I've never heard of it. Okay, so I got it right. Now, next. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. No, I'm just joking. In 2 days, hopefully, we'll see. You never know. Let's try Club 400 up against the Albertsons Canadian Blended Whiskey. I think that's going to be kind of hard too, but we'll see. It's going to be tough. You see, I'm down to the bottom, what? 35% of the bottle. 40. I guess that's the bottom 40%. Oh well, we'll just drag it as long as we can drag it out, right? And then it'll be gone, and I won't be getting a replacement because I can't get one. Narragansett makes a great coffee stout. I never saw that. The only Narragansett beers I've ever had was the standard Narragansett and the cream ale. And I wasn't really too pleased with either one, to tell you the truth. I found they were kind of substandard, but that was years ago. And I know they were contract brewed back then, so maybe it's improved, okay? And of course, I'd be willing to revisit it. All right, so thank you for watching this video production. Who wins? Nobody. It's a tie. Club 400 was just as good as the Seagram's VO Gold, except that it is way cheaper. So by default, right, by logical conclusion, the Club 400 is better. It's better because it's a better deal. If it tastes the same, if an $8 whiskey tastes the same, or essentially the same as a $23 whiskey, I'm going with the cheap one. I mean, I'm sorry. Enjoy your day off, Jay, says Jacob Miller. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it unless I find out that this pipe is busted. Then I'm going to have a miserable day. But we're going to see after it thaws. It never thawed yesterday. It never got warm enough. But I was at work talking to people yesterday. They said their entire house was froze. In other words, they had no water in their whole house. All the water lines were frozen. I said, yeah, that's scary. And then one lady said her kitchen, no water in the kitchen was frozen. And another lady, her apartment, all the water was frozen. So it's bad here. It's very bad. It's very bad. Okay, well, so we drank our sorrows away. No, I'm just joking. Ha, ha, ha. Pay no mind. Say no more. Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink. Say no more. I'm just tasting liquor anyway. I'm not drinking it. Foolish thing to say. I'm just tasting. I don't drink at 6 in the morning. I'm not crazy, you know. I'm not a crazy person. But I'll taste it for science. I'll do that for science, you know, but not going to do it for some kind of bad habit, you see. All right, so, well, I got to go because I got to do a beer review in about 2 hours. Yeah, a beer review that Lawrence Hartnett sent me. A beer he sent me, and it's in a can, and I can't wait to try it, and I know nothing about it, but I will research it, yada, 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 so on and so on. Goodbye, good night, take care. Das Vidania. Keep them flying. Chive on, whatever. Blah, 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 blah.